Hello and welcome back in the car. As you can guess, I don't actually think I need to tell you whether I'm in the car or the shed, because I reckon you can probably tell whether I'm in a car or whether I'm in a shed or in a kitchen or in a field. It doesn't really need that much explaining, I would say, but I like to do it anyway. So before we get started on whatever I'm gonna waffle on about today, not really sure yet, I gotta say a couple of goodbyes. So first I'm gonna say goodbye to Kye. I worked with Kye now for three and a half years, 4 years, something like that. He came and he used to wear quite a bit of makeup, and I used to actually say, Kye, it's incredible, your makeup is actually put on better than the girls. And it was. And then he reduced quite how much he wore, and it was quite funny. And I said this to Kye, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying, when you look at him, yeah, you'd say, yeah, he's definitely gay, but his personality isn't wet, shall we say. He's not camp at all, really. And he even likes decent music. So good on you, Kye. And also this weekend we will be saying goodbye to Will. Will is going to Lancashire, I believe he said. That's where his girlfriend lives. So we'll be going up there. Will, I think's worked with Will for about a year or so, give or take a bit of COVID. But yeah, so bye Will, bye Kye. Anyway, there's the nice bits done. Good luck to them. Hope all goes well in the future. One of the things I do like about my particular job is the amount of people who work there who have got degrees and have got masters, and yet they're quite, well, I wouldn't say they're happy to, but they have their degrees and they have their masters, and they still work for basic minimum wage or just above. Yeah, they've just spent thousands on getting degrees in various different things, and then thinking, oh, I'm going to get a master's. And then some of them travel in from miles around, and they're then happy to pay for parking space because I've always got it. I ain't giving up my parking space. Don't care how much you want it. Anyway, so yeah, so it obviously it's a sign of the times that COVID's here. There aren't quite so many jobs around, and things are hard out there. You know, it's hard to get the job that you thought, you know what, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z degrees, which 3 years ago when they were starting to take them, 4 years ago when they were starting to take them, there were jobs. It was sort of like a, what's the word, where one gets off and one gets on. So yeah, that was there. But then COVID comes along and ruins that. But there you go. So what I'd thought of talk about now, from a minute ago when I said I don't know what I'm going to talk about to what I'm going to talk about, is what's going on in the Commons potentially today, which is the cutting of foreign aid. Now, I don't want to get too political on you, and yes, I did vote for the Conservative government, which we have, and I voted for them because I felt that economic outlook was better than Labour's. You know, you can agree or disagree with that. That's up to you. Don't really care if you agree with me there or not. That's my view. That's my worldview. And if you don't agree with it, fine. Vote for who you want, and I'm sure one day your party will get in, and that's good for you. And to be fair, you don't want one government all the time. Doesn't work for me in Russia, certainly under communism. Doesn't necessarily work that well in China, and other countries where they have a totalitarian rule. Don't want that. Don't want Boris in power forever, if at all. He wasn't my particular choice. What I would say about him is he's very, very, very good at campaigning, and I don't think there are many others, certainly in the UK at the moment, who come close to his campaigning styles. And you can say, oh yeah, but that was due to Dominic Cummings, who has now left him. Yeah, maybe, but I'm sure he hasn't always used Dominic Cummings and has always been a good campaigner. Anyway, that's that bit of politics. My concern is the cuts that they are planning on making. Now, I understand that there are many things that need to be watched now. You know, we are massively in a recession due to COVID, and you know, whoever you voted for in December 2019, we didn't actually see this one coming, and we voted on things which haven't happened. You know, who could have seen the government having to put billions and billions into topping up people's wages, 80% of your wage? Thank you very much. But I certainly didn't see that when I voted for them. Probably wouldn't have meant that I wouldn't have voted for them, but that's neither here nor there. What you're voting on is the policies and the economic outcomes of the time. And I have to say that I do think that the opposition have been so poor in many ways. And, you know, it just shows at the polls, how can you have a government who have had to do so many unpopular type things? And, you know, it's easy to point out, oh, in hindsight, we would have closed the borders longer, not earlier. We would have tried to prevent a few more deaths. Of course they would. They're not thinking, fuck it, let's let them die. You know, that'll be alright, doesn't matter. They're only old people anyway. You know, that'll free up a bit of space in the old people's hands. Don't think they were really working like that. But for me, the concern with severely cutting the foreign aid is how it comes back to actually help us. Because by giving foreign aid, you help to develop the less developed countries, which can only be a good thing. So yeah, just going my way. There's a little bit close to everybody, but there you go. That's how this road rolls at 8:10 in the morning. Anyway, so yeah, the worry is by doing that, you know, you're going to not be developing these countries, which in turn will potentially mean the poorer get poor. Well, it will mean the poorer get poor. You know, we complain about our country, and there are some people who are very poor, I'm sure. But at least in England, Scotland, UK, and probably most of Europe, there is somewhere where you can get some food and some help. But in deepest, darkest Africa, Asia, Central America, maybe not. And I think that our foreign aid will go to help them. If it's, you know, let's be fair, it's more the infrastructure, because, you know, it's all right giving people some seeds. It's knowing how to grow the seeds, and it's having the technical abilities in these countries to teach how to plant your seed and get your seeds growing, rather than, oh, there you go, it's a bag of seeds, you'll be alright now. You know, you can give someone a loaf of bread and that'll feed them today. You give them enough grain and teach them how to grow it and the agricultural skills, there you go, I said it, then they hopefully will have the ability to have bread many, many times. And, you know, we just need to be a little less outlooking. The amount of people who are like, oh yeah, we shouldn't give foreign aid because we should do this, that and the other, it comes back and helps us So that's why we need to give foreign aid. It's not all about giving money to, you know, countries which are rich. We're not thinking, oh, Saudi Arabia, oh, you've got a few poor people, but you're extremely rich. Oh, let's give you some money so you can help them. No. It's going to projects to help the most vulnerable and the poorest people in the world, and for me, that's a good thing. You know, you have to have a social conscience, people. Whatever political allegiance you have to socially think, you know what, we need to look after these people. When I did vote Conservative, I also didn't agree with them cutting the nurses' wages, especially after COVID. You sick people, you know, that ain't on. Don't agree with that. But sadly, I still don't see an alternative that would run the country better, and therein lies the problem. It's the catch-22, I think is the saying. Well, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But there are certain things which the government need to start doing better. And, you know, it's important, especially as a voter, that you have the intelligence to say that this is wrong, this is what you need to sort out. Just don't accept, and especially if you do vote. And if you don't vote, then you need to vote, even if you say, oh, I don't know who to vote for, I don't know nothing about politics. Well, do a bit of reading, you know, ask your friends, ask your parents, and ask them why did you vote for them, and then maybe they'll give you a reason. I vote for them because I like the colour. Yeah, it's not really probably the best reason to vote for a party, even if it is true. But anyway, there you go. That's my assessment. We need to, if anything, increase foreign aid, and I think that would help us more. And I do accept that there are veterans who can't afford certain things, and that is unfortunate, but you know, that is sadly the way of the world. Anyway, this has been Andy B in his car, your man in a shed. This is a Man in a Shed production. Executive producer Sully the Tortoise. Anyway, I'm sure he'll enjoy being the producer of this one. What I will do on Thursday is I will have an interview possibly with Sully, and he can tell you all about his production values and what he believes in, and he'll tell you about his favourite bit of lettuce as well. But that's to come. That's the future, people. Also, hopefully we'll start filming my 2 new series, True Crimes, and the second series of the Versus series. So there you go, something to potentially look forward to. We'll try and get that out possibly by the weekend, if not maybe next week. Anyway, this is your man in the shed, Andy P. See ya, pals.